Lancaster did more damage than any other machine of the Second World War. Some of the bombs it dropped were more famous than others. Best known of all was the bouncing bomb, designed by celebrated engineer Wallis.
Job for page.
Originally conceived to skim over the torpedo nets protecting enemy ships in dock, this giant drum was only used on one mission, the famous Dams Raid of 1943.
4 ton full of explosive and aluminium powder. You think aluminium powder? Yeah, what that was to do was just to prolong the explosion because the aluminium powder was just slow and sort of vaporizing and burning.
Wallis's other explosive masterpieces were even bigger. The 5-ton Tall Boy and 10-ton Grand Slam.
This is going to surprise you what I'm going to tell you at the end of this. The way that was designed, right, that spun through the air and allowed it to accelerate to like 750 miles an hour, like speed of sound. It would be spinning round like billy-o, bury its head into the ground, like 25 metres under the ground, and then it'd explode. And then anything that was around that, it would knack at the foundations and just obliterate the place.
80 years later, unexploded Tall Boys are still packing a punch, like this one that was found in Poland.
But what did the most damage was, and we've been looking at it all this time, and I didn't know that, right? I didn't know that. You know what that is? That's an incendiary. We dropped 80 not 80. Did I get that right? I didn't read that wrong. We dropped 80 million. Are you sure I read that right?
Nazi Germany had used fire-spreading incendiaries in 1940 during the Blitz. Bomber Command hit back hard, with the majority of the 80 million devices being dropped by Lancasters. Burning homes to the ground was euphemistically referred to as dehousing. Responsibility for the strategy fell to a man who said all the cities in Germany weren't worth as much as one British soldier.
Yeah, we can't do all this talking about Bomber Command without mentioning one man. Arthur Bomber Harris. Bomber Harris, to call him. The boss, the #1 of Bomber Command.
The Nazis entered this war under the rather childish delusion that they were going to bomb everybody else and nobody was going to bomb them.
For every bomb Germany dropped over Britain, the Allies dropped 36 bombs over occupied Europe. Some of the attacks were devastating.
May 1942, the first 1,000 bomber raid. Bomber Harris had only been in his job, what, 3 months? 8 miles wide, the sea of planes. 1 mile long, but 8 miles wide. Flew off to Cologne, bombed 13,000 houses, 1 military target. War is war. Everything is a target. We need to break the morale of the German nation, and that hopefully will bring an early end to the war. August 43, the Hamburg raid, 8 days, 7 nights.
This was about halfway through the raid, and large fires were burning. The aircraft taking the picture was flying at well over 20,000 feet, and the area covered by the film is about 6 square miles.
When I was reading a book about the draw from the fire was that much it was pulling trees out of the ground. The only way that they could estimate the deaths was through how much the ash weighed. So just... February 45, the most controversial bombing raid of the Second World War. Dresden. 25,000 civilian lives gone. Yeah, a lot of people then and still now say, was it needed? 3 months from the end of the war, was it needed? Well, Bomber Harris said it was. A very controversial figure. His grandson's still about, and we've got a few questions for him.
Tom Ashton is a historian who remembers his grandfather as a very different character
That's my tie.
to the single-minded military chief usually portrayed.
He was a brilliant grandfather. He had a pet bear.
He had a pet bear?
Yeah, he had a lion, which was eventually given...
A bloody lion as
yeah,
well?
lion cub.
Bloody hell. Was he a dog man?
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't right.
Yeah.
That says everything, you know, it's right.
Absolutely. You'd have had great fun with him because he'd have loved you because, you know, he was a very practical man. But you would have felt the sort of aura of command.
Air Marshal Harris has this to say.
There are a lot of people who say that bombing can never win a war. Well, my answer to that is that it has never been tried yet, and we shall see.
So how do you take it then when your granddad sort of put over as a psychopath?
It wasn't his job to save German lives. It was his job to save as many of our lives as possible.
Yes.
In here, Americans and so on. And certainly when the troops, our foot soldiers, went into Europe and they saw some of the damage in Germany, they were pretty shocked.
What's some of the damage that was being done by bomber commands?
Right, they were shocked. And there was a sort of, oh, my God, have we gone too far?
Right.
But then they saw the camps. 6 million Jewish people, you know, and it was a very tough call. He was a tough man, but he was a compassionate man. And he
stood by his actions.
The battle cry now is...
Let him have it right on the chin. Send that message to all groups and stations.
And Air Marshal Arthur Harris will go on hitting them until the knockout.